Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well after our glorious night yesterday, 4-0 winners against Krasnodar. I've done my match review. If you haven't watched my match review yet somehow, hit the link above here. After you have watched this video, make sure you head there and catch what I had to say last night after we wrapped up the game. It was a crazy one. It was a very unexpected one because for 70 minutes we looked like we didn't know what we were doing. And then after the 70th minute, Frank Lampard switched to a 4-3-3, brought on a few subs and changed the game. And you need to debate now, and we discussed this yesterday, but there is a debate in the Chelsea community now. How do we approach the season now? Is this our N'Golo Kante moment where we lost 3-0 against Arsenal and he switched to a back three? Is it similar situation now where with the 4-3-3 and our new signings within the 4-3-3, is that the right way to go? Some of you I know are a little bit concerned, or not concerned, concerned's probably the wrong word, but just a little bit cautious that playing a 4-3-3 isn't going to work against everyone, and playing a 4-3-3 just because it worked against Krasnodar doesn't mean if we play against Burnley in a 4-3-3 we're going to win and batter them 5-0 or something like that. And I hear you. But the one thing I want to say to that point is last season when we were playing and we were utilising the 4-3-3 up until one point in the season where it began to look like it wasn't working, we started to experiment a little bit more to a back three, if you remember. You have to acknowledge the fact that the quality in the team last season wasn't up to a standard. We brought on loads of youth players. We tried to make something from nothing. Eden Hazard had just left. We were left with, spares. We were left with what we had, and we had to make something out of it. We had no option. We've spent in excess of £200 million, right? And we've got world-class players in the team now. I am sure that they are more than capable to pull out a 4-3-3. And the reality of the situation is, yes, a formation doesn't work against every single opponent. I agree. But if you have enough quality in the team, that should still be able to get you a result. And the key is if you are utilising the talent with a formation that does work. You put the two together, you can beat anyone. And some are now debating, is this our N'Golo Kante moment? Is it where we lost 3-0 to Arsenal and now, and then after that we went on to win 30 out of 38 games. And that's the proof. You change one little thing, you use one formation after that, you can beat anybody like we did that season. 30 wins out of 38. It wasn't an issue to go out and start beating all the teams with the same formation and the same players and the same system. If the players and the system and the formation is working all together, if all of that is with good harmony, the reality is you can be too good for anyone. And even if there are games where you look like you're not as good as you were last weekend, or, you look and you're like, hey, there was a few games before where we looked better than this. However, you're still good enough to get the result. And that's the key. Now the debate is the 4-3-3 the way to go with Kai Havertz and Werner and Chilwell and, Ziyech and Mendy in goal and Silva? Is the 4-3-3 the way to use all of these new signings at the same time? And yesterday, yes, it was against Krasnodar, but it looked night and day, as I said in yesterday's review. Night and day compared to the rest of the game. We looked slow. We looked like we couldn't string a pass together. We looked out of sorts. There was no options going forward. Everyone was going backwards, and there was a debate as to that, which I'm going to discuss in a sec. But the moment we switched, everything changed. Everything changed. All of a sudden we're very forward thinking. All of a sudden we're finding the space. All of a sudden it seems like the two midfielders in an attacking role rather than having two in a pivot contributes more to our attack, enables more focus and draw into the defenders, and allows others to exploit into the spaces. And maybe that is the way. Now, one player that I wanted to focus on, because this was a talking point yesterday and still is today in relation to last night's game. But this name has been mentioned quite a few times this season so far. As I don't want to say the weak link, right? I don't think that's necessarily fair because this player does bring good things. But when you look at the way we were playing yesterday, especially against an opponent like Krasnodar, where I say regardless of formation and regardless of who's on the pitch, we should still be setting a standard. And yesterday, when we brought off Jorginho and Kovacic, And we brought on Kante, Mason Mount, who accompanied Kai Havertz in the number 8 role. But the lone DM after that was N'Golo Kante. We just looked so much more better. And there wasn't any more passing backwards. And that is the one thing that a lot of you seem to have a problem with, just like myself. You know, it's nice. It's nice to hear I'm not the only one. I'm not going crazy. But going backwards and passing backwards all the time and allowing the opposition to get back into position and to get back into the spaces and to get back into their zones. And we just allow them to reorganize, restructure, and then it makes it 10 times harder for us to get through. You've allowed your opponent to get back into position and wait for you. You know, passing backwards completely unnecessarily just got on my nerves. And the moment we switched it up yesterday, that went out the window. And that was really, really good to see. The one player to talk about here, though, is Jorginho. Some of you have said that Jorginho, in the comment section, by the way, some of you have said that Jorginho is the one that needs to be pushed out. Jorginho is the one that's not enabling us to attack. Jorginho is the one that's slowing everything down. Jorginho is the one, Jorginho is the one passing backwards all the time. I wanted to talk about that because at first I was hearing that and thinking, I'm not so sure. And I knew that, yes, he would pass backwards sometimes, and that was a cause of concern under Maurizio Sarri. But we had the excuse back then of, you got to build the play from the back, you got to build it via Jorginho. He's the regista, he is the key and the engine to this Sarri system that we are trying to play. So, you know, with time, it will work. And we all bought that idea and we were all patient about it, you know. And Jorginho became the scapegoat, if you remember. Last season, Jorginho was no longer the scapegoat, and he looked a little bit more free, a little bit more liberated, and he looked better. But this season, it does seem like he still has that tendency to go for the safe option. Yes, he can ping a ball. Yes, he can, you know, go diagonal, and yes, he can contribute really well in linking up with some forward players. But when the lines are closed and when you're getting pressurised or you're getting pressed, the one criticism of Jorginho is the amount of times he loses possession or the amount of times he doesn't recuperate enough. But lately, it has been looking like a little bit of concern. Same goes for Mateo Kovacic, but Mateo Kovacic just for me hasn't played enough, so I'm not even going to discuss that one because I know Salmard saying he shouldn't be on the pitch at all, and I'm like, no, this is Mateo Kovacic we're talking about. Give him the chance to play, and he will show you what he can do. But Kante does seem to be thinking more direct and thinking, where's the option forward, than Jorginho. So I heard all of your concerns and saying, you know, Jorginho, is he the one that's holding us back? Is he the one in midfield that's not doing enough for us? And I think, you know, his creativity, yes, it's not quite there. Kovacic, for me, I see him as more of an offensive player. You know, when we were playing in a pivot, yes, Kovacic can play there, but for me, that's just not where he belongs. The same like Mason Mount. Mason Mount belongs as an 8. Kovacic, for me, belongs as an 8. It's as simple as that. Nothing else. And N'Golo Kante, we know N'Golo Kante operates better when he's playing alongside someone. We know this. He done it at Leicester. He done it at Chelsea. He done it for France. He operates better in a pivot. However, that extra player next to him in a pivot needs to be someone that's equally as aggressive as him and a little bit more creative. That way Kante's not there to do all the work. And yeah, you know, I think with yesterday, that shift, I had a light bulb moment at that point. I remembered all of your comments about Jorginho and I thought, maybe this is the case. Maybe that is the case. Jorginho could be the weak link here. Could be. So, personally, I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt now. And I'm willing to think, you know what? The change up yesterday from Frank Lampard was exemplary. We saw Kante move into a DM role. We saw the 2 number 8s, with Kai Havertz being one of them. Now, who is going to be the other one? Kovacic or Mason Mount? For me, we can use either. And this is good for us in terms of rotation. We have a lot of games. We can utilise both. But the good thing is that both of them will be playing in their position. Kante, for me, is more than capable to be a lone DM as long as he has good centre mids in front of him. Unlike last season where we did play Kante in a DM, we had players, you know, I don't want to say, you know, they're absolutely rubbish. But when you look at the way that Barkley was playing at times. But I'm thinking now, with a Kai Havertz in front, with a Kovacic or a Mason Mount that does seem to be looking better, Kante as a DM will be a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more protected. And hopefully he'll be able to do his job properly. So yeah, I want to leave that debate with you. Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear that one. We move into the preview for Burnley versus Chelsea tomorrow. That's going to be an interesting one. Press conference was done today, but I am going to discuss all of that in tomorrow's preview. And then Saturday, we move up to Burnley. Let's go and hopefully get 3 points. And are we going to play the 4-3-3? I will discuss all tomorrow. So make sure you are subscribed if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Smash the like button. Let's try and get to 7,000 likes. And I will see all of you tomorrow for the preview, Burnley versus Chelsea. Do not forget, hit up my Twitch. I will be streaming after this is uploaded. So make sure you head there. And I'll see all of you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Look after yourselves. Have a good one. Take care. And peace.